What's up, y'all? It's Miles the Millennial.
And it's your boy Rex Howard Jr.
And this is Let's Talk Like Men, the podcast where we have real conversations about real topics, providing real advice to men like you everywhere. And we're back with another episode today. Today is going to be a powerful one, man. We have been blessed with an amazing guest to come on to our show today. So I'm going to ask the question to Rex, and then I'm going to ask the question to our guest. How are you doing today, man? Rex, what's up with you?
Man, like my granny used to say, man, I'm better than I deserve, brother. I'm here. I'm feeling good. I feel good to be in the presence
Yeah.
of y'all brothers, and I'm excited for this episode. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. God has blessed me today. Just to make it here. I got a lot done today. I'm feeling purposeful. I'm feeling spirit led, and I'm ready for a powerful conversation. Now, we got to ask our guest real quick. How are you feeling today?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Thank y'all for having me on here. And I'm excited to
Absolutely.
see exactly what is about to be said and how we're about to dive into
Yes,
what
sir.
we're about to dive into. And just grateful for another day, man.
Absolutely. It's about to be powerful. So some of you guys might already know who our guest is. This man has a dominant following on social media. He's been leading people, whether it was through COVID with the TikTok videos. That's how Rex knew about him. That's how my lady knew about him. He is an author. He is a pastor. He is a podcaster. He is a leader of men. He is somebody that is just moving and shaking and making a lot of noise in the kingdom in a good way, man. And we're honored to be connected to him. We're honored to go to his church. We are honored for him to lead us every single Sunday when we come there, every Wednesday for Bible study. This is Pastor James Edwards from Transforming
Thank
Faith
you,
Christian
Miles.
Center,
Yeah,
man.
appreciate you, man. Blessings to
Absolutely.
y'all. Rex, you good?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. So, Pastor, today's episode, man, is gonna be from pain to purpose,
Gotcha.
right? How pain and suffering can lead to transformation
Mm-hmm.
and the process of becoming as a man,
Gotcha.
right? When you hear that, what's the first thing that pops into your mind when you hear pain to purpose?
Wow. I think the very first thing that comes to my mind when I hear something like that is this: that the greatest asset that God gave to man is the ability to make a choice.
Hmm.
But the most dangerous asset that God gave to man is the ability
Make a choice.
to make a choice.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And so anytime a person is in a place of pain, honestly, 90% of the time, they've made choices
Yeah.
that has led them to a place of pain.
Mhm.
And so therefore, if you are aware that you've made choices that led you to a place of pain, you have to be fully aware that you can make choices that can lead you to a place of purpose.
That's good.
But the scariest thing about it is usually the choices that led you to the place of pain, those are the choices that you are used to making,
Mhm.
right? And it's easy to make choices over and over again and get the same result because that's a habit that's involved. But the hardest thing in the world is to break a habit.
Mhm.
And the hardest thing in the world is to start a habit.
Mm.
So a lot of times pain is supposed to get our attention, supposedly. But I'm thoroughly convinced and fully persuaded that pain does not get everybody's
Yeah,
attention.
yeah,
Pain did get my attention.
yeah.
And when pain got my attention, my thing was this: God, if you real, I'll make a deal with you. And the deal is this: you show me what I'm created for, you can have my life.
Mm.
Yeah.
You've been living by that ever since.
Ever since, absolutely, without a
good.
shadow of a doubt. And because I had to make a choice when I was at the fork in the road. And in
Mhm.
the fork in the road, I think everybody get the opportunity that God speaks to them and let them know that you made choices to get you here. And you can make different choices that'll get you there. But you gotta make a choice. And no choice is a choice.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's good. Rex, you came up with the topic. What inspired this from you? I know we were spending some time trying to figure out what do we want this episode to be. What really got you to say this is what the Lord spoke to me? You texted me, you like, man, I feel like God put this one on my heart. What put that there for you?
And absolutely. So, with my morning mastery, we've been focusing on identity and purpose, right, over the last 30 days. And one of the questions that was brought up was, what has your suffering taught you about your resilience and your purpose?
Hmm.
Right. And in my answer to that, I was like, this is what this episode needs to be about, because this is all about a process of becoming, right? Your pain is supposed to teach you something. Whether you learn the lesson or not, it's supposed to teach you something. So, and I was just like, hearing Pastor's story just from the stage, realizing that he had to go through a lot of pain to get to purpose, hearing your story from over the last couple of years, and then knowing what God has put me through,
Mhm.
right? I realized that in the process of becoming, you're going to go through pain. So how about we have a conversation on helping men establish their purpose through their pain?
That's good. We're trying to be a catalyst for change,
100%.
right? Because that's the real thing, that pain can be a catalyst
Yeah.
and it can lead you towards different paths. And I think that part of this that we wanted to talk about is the fact that there's a death that has to happen,
Man, every
right?
day.
In that process, that pain, and if you want to change, there's some death that has to happen. But when we hear death, we oftentimes think of something very negative. We think that it is the end of us entirely, versus the end of maybe an identity, the end of a temporary version of yourself, but not the end of who you were destined to become,
Absolutely.
right? And Pastor, I believe I've heard you talk about this. It was either on Grace and Truth, but you have talked about the fact that there are seasons to everything in life, and that there's going to be some seasons where death is required.
Yeah,
to
absolutely,
happen.
without a shadow of a doubt.
Can you elaborate on
Yeah.
that?
Usually when you're talking about the word death in a professional environment, when you're talking about the word death in a social environment, when you're talking about the word death, and pretty much in the way of the world, a lot of people use the word, and like you say, they think is a negative connotation to the word simply because they don't know what the word means.
Absolutely.
And so, especially when you start talking about dying, you know, what they think is that a person is about to leave the earth.
Yeah.
But if you look up that word death in the Hebrew, it literally means separation. And that's because the spirit and the soul separates from the body. So if the concept of the word is separation, in death, what has to take place in order for transformation is that there has to be a separation from selfishness, right? Because 9 times out of 10, like I said, if I made choices to lead me to a place that's unproductive, may I submit to you that selfishness is the reason why I've made choices in order to get me to a place that's unproductive.
Yeah.
So now I got to make a choice to go against my selfishness. And the only way I can go against my selfishness is that I got to be willing to separate from selfishness. So now the scariest part about separating from selfishness is this. You got a lot of people that you do life with that don't want to separate from selfishness. So if they don't want to separate from selfishness, and I make a decision to say, I got to separate from selfishness, then this means I got to separate from them. So if there's a separation from them, then there's literally a death in relationships.
Yeah.
And so if there's a death in relationships, now I gotta be willing to step into a period of isolation. Are you with me? And so when there's no isolation for a period, then there's no transformation, right? So I gotta separate myself and I gotta go into a place of isolation until I find other relationships that are willing to go in the same direction that I want to go in. But a lot of times we don't have the courage, we don't have the boldness, nor the self-confidence, the self-assurance, or the self-esteem to say, I'll stay by myself long as I gotta stay by myself because I don't want to turn back into that person that I used to be.
Yeah.
Right? And that takes some real strength. That takes some real passion. That takes some real fortitude.
Yeah.
That takes some real self-confidence to break away from a crew of people or family that you've been doing life with for a long time to say, hey, I'm tired of this. I'm done with this. I got to separate from the conversations. I got to separate from the attitudes. I got to separate from the actions. I got to be willing to separate from selfishness because selfishness is the place that's the thing that led me to a place that I don't want to be in.
Absolutely.
And so just being honest with you, if you don't face it, you won't fix it. You got me. So the first thing I gotta do is I gotta be like, man, I gotta face this and watch this. If something ahead of me is not greater than me, if it's not greater than where I am, if where I'm going is not greater than where I am, 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna be able to separate from the people, or I'm not gonna be able to separate from the habits of selfishness that I've been developing.
That's good.
Yeah.
Rex, I know something's on you, man. What is it that you're thinking right now? You had a period of isolation, multiple periods. What is on your mind when you hear that?
Sit in it.
Right.
Sit in it. It takes me back to 2022. Breakup just happens. I'm the trash man at my apartment complex, picking up dog boo boo, picking up the trash bags in the trash chute. I'm not where I want to be, right? And I remember grieving the relationship that just detached from. And I'm sitting outside by the pool, and you got the fountains running. It's like a movie scene. You got the fountains running, and I'm sad, bro. I'm emotional. And I text my pops. I was like, "Yo, pops, you would pray for me?" And he called me. He's like, "Son, you good?" I had no words. I just had straight tears, but he could
Wow.
feel my spirit. He started praying for me. And I remember after he got through praying for me, I sat there for another 2 hours sitting in it, right? I could have made the choice to go grab me a drink. I could have made a choice to go call somebody. I could have made a choice to go call a little shorty so I could have a sense of touch. I could have done those things I used to turn to, but I had to learn how to sit in it. And that isolation with me sitting in it, with me being okay with being in the house, being okay with me training my dog, being okay with me watering my plants, being okay with me listening to God. And when I didn't have the words to give to God, just giving his, filling my spirit and filling a room with his words, I had to learn how to sit in it. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind, brother.
It's a tough thing to do, man, especially in today's world where there are so many distractions, right? There are so many standards that aren't godly standards, but the world will hold you as a man to them and say that you need to be at a certain place by a certain time and uphold a certain image
Yep.
in order for you to be a man, in order for you to be the guy, in
Mm.
order for you to be validated by the world,
Yeah.
right? And so being patient,
Yeah.
being still, being out of the mix, right? What everybody say, we outside. Yeah, I'm trying to be in people's face. I'm trying to be seen, right? That's one of the toughest things, especially when you have built your identity off of how others see you.
100%.
What happens when you in the wilderness and you by yourself
Yeah.
and you taking yourself out of the limelight, you taking yourself out of people's vision. They don't see you no more. You have a fear in your mind. Well, if I'm not being seen, I don't exist no more.
100%.
I'm not valuable anymore. I don't have a place anymore. And the reality is, you're probably right. You don't have a place, not with them. You don't have a place, not in those spaces that you used to go
Come
to.
on now.
Your time here is up
Come on now.
if you choose it. As
Yeah.
Pastor said, if you
Mhm.
choose it.
Yes, sir.
I think about different moments in life. Everybody has these moments, like you said, your fork in the road moment.
Yeah.
I want to hear, Pastor, from you. What was one of those? If there's multiple of them, you can tell us. But like one thing I know is there's plenty of times where the pain happens and you choose to just keep doing it your
Yeah,
way.
for sure.
What was the moment where you said, "Okay, I got to stop playing because
Yeah.
this might be the end of me if I don't change"?
Yeah, for sure. I was in prison actually, man. I was in federal prison at the time, and I had been sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. And I got in prison, and I wanted to change. I just didn't know how, and it wasn't enough heat on me.
Mm,
You got me? Some people change because they got the right people in their corner to
Yeah.
drive them, to make them change.
mhm,
But other people change not because they want to, but because they feel the heat.
mhm,
100%.
You see
mhm,
what I'm saying?
100%.
And so I was in prison, and I was with a group of guys who were paying guards to leave prison and come back.
mhm,
And one night I went out and got caught when I was out. And when I got caught when I was out, I came back in, and they immediately locked me up in a one-man cell in prison in Atlanta Federal holdover facility. And so in in the hole, it is like it's called the special housing unit. It's called the SHU,
mhm,
special housing unit, SHU. And so it's a one-man cell where you can't see no light outside. It's just straight dark. And never forget the night I walked in. It was 2:38 a.m. on October the 8th, 2006. And when the door slammed, I heard a voice as clear as day say this: "You're exactly where you're supposed to be."
mhm,
And I'm like, man, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And soon as I heard the voice, it felt like it's straight black, but it felt like the walls was getting ready to close in and crush me. And I realized right then from the depths of my heart that I was tired,
Mm.
right? When we talk about death, we talk about separation. In physical death, spirit and the soul leaves the body. Watch this. I noticed something though. That anytime, as being a pastor for 10 years, I've noticed that anytime I'm at the hospital praying for someone and somebody is getting ready to die and expire off the earth, they will always make this statement: I'm tired.
Mm.
So the point is this: until a person gets really tired, the death angel cannot come in and separate them
Mhm.
from an old life to a new life.
Mhm.
So I said, God, I'm tired.
Mhm.
If you show me what I'm created for, you can have everything. I'll give up the streets. I'll give up the women. I'll give up the money. I'll give up the dog fighting. I'll give up everything that I'm involved in. If you show me what I'm created for, you can have my life. Because the truth of the matter is, I really didn't even think God was real.
Mhm.
I didn't think God was real because I couldn't understand for the life of me how in the world am I growing up with my grandma, and every single time it begin to rain, we got to set pots in the middle of the floor to catch the rain because the poverty was so heavy that we didn't have money to fix the roof. And and so in my mind, if God this good, why he don't just fix the roof?
Mhm.
If God this good, why he don't protect my grandma and give us the opportunity to live better lives? So in my mind was already made up at 9, 10 years old. Just being honest, I knew right then, especially when my grandmother died at 12, that if I don't make it to the NBA or the NFL, I'm gonna sell drugs for the rest of my life. Because in my mind, the only opportunity I had to be successful was through sports
Mhm.
or through selling drugs. That's all I ever saw. So the only time I got affirmation, validation, it was when I was on the football field.
Mhm.
The only time I got a celebration when I was on the basketball court. So I'm thinking that I'm about to be the next Michael Jordan, the next Isaiah Thomas, the next Lawrence Taylor, whosoever.
Mhm.
And so when my mom is battling a drug addiction, she takes me off the football field. I immediately start selling drugs at 15 years old.
Yeah.
So now from 15 years old, that's 27 years old, I've been selling drugs and I made it to a place I'm selling drugs at a high level.
Yeah.
And I'm running an entire cocaine ring from Houston to Alabama. And so when we got indicted and got locked up, the judge knew just how smart I was, basically how much of a businessman I was. And she told me, if you come back before me again, you will get 300 months starting, and that's 25 years.
Mhm.
I'm writing this down in your jacket. So now I get to prison. When I get to prison, I'm like, man, I want to change, but I really don't know how. So, and now I see that I can pay guards to leave and come back. So now, because of selfishness,
Yeah.
now I'm saying, oh, I can do this time. Long as I can go out and come back in. Because when I go out, I'm getting with my girlfriend, we having sex,
Mhm.
and I'm good.
Mhm.
And so, but the night I went out and came back in and got caught, and they threw me in the one-man cell. Now I've really come to the end of myself. And I'm saying, I'm tired. And I said, God, if you show me what I'm created for, you can have my life. I didn't come to God asking to be born again.
Mhm.
I came to God asking, what am I here for?
Mm.
Right? I didn't put purpose in words like that. But at the time, I just wanted to know, why am I alive? I know I'm not alive to be a small city drug lord, because that's what the feds call me.
Mm.
I know I'm not alive to keep on, running women and dogging out women and being a womanizer. I know I'm not alive to be a manipulator, con man, trickster. If you show me why I'm alive, you can have my life. I straight up told God, if you show me why I'm alive, you can have my life. Well, after I prayed, I went to sleep, woke up the next morning, grabbed the Bible, could not understand what it was about, anything. Few days later, I get a book in the mail by Joel Osteen, and it's entitled Your Best Life Now.
Mm.
And in Your Best Life Now, I see chapter 1 entitled Enlarging Your Vision. And what the writer was saying was this: if you can never see it happening on the inside, you'll never experience it on the outside. If you can never see yourself owning a business internally, you'll never own the business externally. If you can never see yourself making it to the NBA internally, you'll never do it externally. And I slammed the book and I said, God, I ain't never seen myself doing anything but selling drugs.
Yeah.
If you show me why I'm here, if you show me what I'm created for, you can have my life. And all of a sudden, I heard a voice on the inside of me say, keep reading this chapter. And as I kept reading that chapter, over and over again, I tried to go to chapter 2, which is entitled Bloom Where You're Planted. I tried to go there, but then if something's just bringing me back to chapter 1, all of a sudden, I had an experience that marked me for life. At the time, I couldn't put language to it, but now I know that God was calling my attention, and I was having a spiritual experience where my spirit and my soul literally left my body, went to a place, and I see a sea of people, and I'm standing before a sea of people. And as I'm looking before a sea of people, I'm looking to the right. I see my mom and my grandma and other people to the right. I look to my left. I see my uncle in all white. I look at myself, and boom, I'm right back. And so I'm back in the cell, and I'm thinking I'm losing my mind. I'm thinking I'm hallucinating, because if you in this one man cell long enough, and if you ain't mentally tough and got mental fortitude, they have to give you medicine.
Yep.
So I jump up and knock at the door and tell the correctional officer to come open the door and I told the orderly, go get the correctional officer to come open the door, because I'm thinking I'm losing my mind. He go get the correctional officer, come back to open the door, and I'm crying, I'm hysterical, because I've had this encounter with God. I couldn't put encounter in words then, but now I know it's an encounter with God. I had an encounter with God, and I couldn't put language to it, and I didn't know what was going on. So when he came back and opened up the door, he like, man, you okay? And I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on. And then he just busts out laughing at me. And I'm like, man. He like, man, it's going to be all right. You're going to be cool. He's like, man, but you was that one of them dudes that was paying the guards down at the camp to come back. And he slammed the door, and he like, man, I hope you're going to be all right, little punk. I hope you don't lose your mind. But man, you'll be cool when you try to play the system. This is what happened. The system play you.
Yeah.
So he slammed the door. I'm hysterical. I'm going crazy. I'm like, man, I sure hope I don't lose my mind. A few hours later, lights go out in the hole at 9 p.m. Special housing unit, when the lights go off, it's so black you can't even see your hand before your face. And so when the lights went black and they hit the lights, I'm terrified. And I lay down in the bed and I fall asleep. And in the dream, instantly I started dreaming. And it felt like I wasn't asleep for 5 minutes. But the exact same thing I saw in the trance earlier that day, that's what it was. It was a spiritual trance. The same thing I saw in the trance, this time I saw it in a dream. But now I've left the pulpit and I'm coming down the aisle, and I got a microphone in my mouth and I'm preaching. I can't hear myself saying a word, but the people are going crazy. And my auntie hit me on the back saying, boy, you better preach. Boy, you better preach. When I saw that, I jumped right up out of my sleep. And I said, God, you trying to tell me I'm going to preach? And a couple minutes later, I hear a voice say this on the inside of me. What is the thing about you that everybody hates? I'm like, no. He said, it's your mouth. Instantly, I remember 3 instances that happened. My mom taking me to school at the time as she's battling a drug addiction. And I had been into a fight with a little kid because they were talking about her. And she like, why you just can't mind everybody and mind these teachers and do what they tell you to do? I say, Mom, I'm fighting the little kids because they saying you on crack and you boost our clothes, you steal our clothes. And she popped me in the mouth. Bam, shut up, boy, you talk too much. Second instance, I'm thinking about this going through my mind. The second instance happens. I'm in a car dealership with my auntie, and she's getting ready to buy me a Cadillac Escalade. I got $15,000 cash. I run in there and tell her, auntie, put this $15,000 down on the car because I don't want my payments to be high. Get out of here, boy. You talk too much. I can't stand your mouth. And the third instance coming back to me, I'm with an ex-girlfriend, and I'm bragging to her. I'm bragging to her and all her coworkers. We at a restaurant about all the money I got, all the stuff I'm doing. And she looked at me. She said, I can't stand your mouth. You talk too much. You sound like a girl. I'm replaying all this in my mind in the cell as this is going on. And some hit me. And some say, there's nothing wrong with you talking too much. You just talking about the wrong thing. You got me? I try to talk back to the voice don't talk back. Finally, I go to sleep. I wake up the next morning, and the Holy Spirit speaks back to me again. You said if I gave you your purpose, I could have your life. I say, I know. I'm going to change when I get out of prison. He say, no, I want your life now. For some reason, I pick up the Bible and I start reading the Bible. And at that point, the Bible is not hard to read. It's not a book no more. I'm in a journey, literally getting so deep in the Bible that I don't even realize I'm in prison. And I'm so deep in the Bible, I'm visualizing what I'm reading, and I'm not knowing then that God is giving me an encounter with his word. You see what I'm saying? I'm not just reading the word, I'm in it. And as I'm in the word, I can see Abraham taking Isaac up to Mount Moriah. I can smell the dust that's coming from him. When he say, when Isaac said, Father, I see the wood, I see the fire, but where's the sacrifice? I'm right there, like in it so hard. And man, for the next 10 months, I'm reading the Bible from sun up to sundown. And at that point, that's when I knew without a shadow of a doubt, God showed me what he had called me to do. And now I knew it was time to become what he had called me to do.
That's powerful.
Yeah, man. Man,
That's extremely powerful.
you said something. You said when he was revealing these things to you, he told you like, hey, what's the thing that people hate the most about you?
Mm-hmm.
That takes me back to the exact same thing with me in my journey, right? Little background on my story from the time I'm growing up and making my way through. The one thing that I was very insecure as a young child. I was just always the smallest. People always tried to pick on me, so I was always fighting. And I always was getting rejected by the girls that I liked. But the one thing that I could do that I did better than everybody else around me was speaking.
Communicate.
I could talk in ways and I could influence people's minds. My earliest experiences were I was 4 or 5 years old in the church, and we're doing these poems. We're doing our recitals, whatever we're doing for Easter, and they're giving me paragraphs, and everybody else is reading off of their paper. I'm memorizing it, and I'm getting the old ladies off their feet, right? I remember first grade, I had a friend, he was African, he had just came from Africa. And I've never told this one live, but this was my first embarrassing moment. And I can't remember what we were talking about. We were playing on the kindergarten, on the ground, the playground. And out of nowhere, I told him to shut up for whatever reason. He punched me in my mouth. And I didn't fight back. I didn't know what to do. I had never experienced anything like that before. And I was super embarrassed in that moment. Then I remember high school. And throughout this entire time, I'm liking girls. I'm trying to talk to girls. And I always get the exact same thing that's happening to me. Oh, you're a great friend. You'll be a great friend. You'll be a great friend.
Hey,
and I'm
friend
feeling,
zoning,
and I'm feeling so rejected. And I get to high school. And I remember getting to high school and I finally get to join the debate team. I wanted to do debate since my freshman year, but my parents were like, man, you're in too many things already. You can't join debate. So senior year, they're like, Miles, you've done a great job. You can join the debate. In my very first tournament, I end up having to go to Harvard and compete in the most prestigious tournament in all of high school debate. And I win the national champion speakers points award.
Wow.
In my very first time doing it. And it was in these continuous moments. Then you get to college. My sister had told me in high school, she was like, Miles, when it comes to the ladies, it's just not your time yet. Just wait. Because she knew, she's like, when you get to college, it's not going to be about being popular. It's not going to be about, having the muscles or being the football player. When you get to college, the girls want the boy that got a good head on his shoulders. They want the boy that's going somewhere.
Yeah.
And college changed everything for me. And the thing that worked in my favor was my mouth. That was my thing, is I could speak and make them believe anything that I wanted them to believe. And I weaponized
Power
it for the wrong
persuasion,
reasons, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I realized when I had my same conversation with God, like, what's my purpose? And he showed it to me and he revealed it to me, man. I realized that, like, God will be cultivating what he's called you for all along your journey. You just won't realize that you're cultivating it for this reason.
Yeah.
You'll be using your mouth to get you in and out of situations. You'll be using whatever that gift is that he's given you. And until you choose him, you'll never be able to use it for the right reasons. And you'll never be able to fulfill it to the degree that he really wants you to fulfill it.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy that you speak of that, because that is such a true statement for
Yeah,
me.
for sure.
Yeah. Rex, what you thinking, man?
I mean, I was just gonna answer it for myself.
Absolutely.
Right. So pain to purpose takes me back 2020, graduate college, right? I'm Rex Fit at the time, got the personal training business on lock. COVID hit, shuts everything down. Okay. I thought I was gonna take over the world with this. I move home. The day I move home, get robbed at gunpoint, get everything taken from me. Right. Now I've been in pain before, right? I done had my heart broken. I done seen my parents get divorced. I seen them going at each other. I done experienced some death from friends. I done experienced people getting locked up. I experienced all this different type of pain, but this was a psychological type of pain, right? An emotional type of pain. Experiencing paranoia, experiencing PTSD, not able to truly sit in my car simply because I'm triggered by everything that walks past me. I'm triggered by people revving up their engine. I'm just triggered by everybody to the point where I could no longer carry my pistol on me, because I thought that I'd be triggered to the point where I'd use it in a type of situation where it wasn't supposed to be used, right? And then I'd be put further danger. So I'm sitting in it and I'm realizing, well, my parents always used to say, don't go put them white folks in your business. So therapy was off the table. Right. I didn't necessarily have a church at the time, so I didn't have trust in a pastor to walk me through that. So that was out the picture. My parents were there, but it's almost like they didn't have the words to speak to my situation. So that was off the picture. Uh, my lady didn't have the words to understand at the time, so that was off the picture. So here I am. I've experienced a lot of stuff before that I've been able to navigate through, but this is something that I just can't seem to do it by myself. I'm having night terrors. I'm having all these dreams. You know, like in your dreams, you fight, but your punches be going real slow.
Yeah.
Where if you ever had to shoot in a dream, you can't pull the trigger. I started having dreams where them punches was flowing and them bullets was coming, and I was just like, man, God, this is something different. I just happened to be in the library one day. I found a book called Cognitive Behavior Therapy, CB2 is a workbook. I took it, I started working through it, using exercises for myself, asking myself, wow, what does this mean to you? Why does this matter? Going deeper, looking at thinking errors. And I worked through this process for about 3.5, 4 weeks. And I noticed a shift in my body. I noticed a shift in my mind. I noticed a shift in everything that I was doing. And I said, if I can do this for myself, I know I can help other people to do it. And then God put it in my heart. Go look up that program you wanted to look up. Because in college, I was interested in the women's body. So I used to do a lot of research, and I used to tell people all the time, I'm gonna be a sex therapist. Right? That was my job. I'm gonna be a sex therapist. And then I went to go talk to a sex therapist, and she was like, well, that's just a certification. You need to have a master's in counseling. I'm gonna be no counselor. It's not what I want to do. But after I finished that workbook, God said, go revisit that conversation. Right. So I started looking at programs, had a couple options. I can be a licensed professional counselor. I can be or a marriage and family therapist. And I was like, well, I come from a dysfunctional family. I didn't see a lot of marriages happen in my family. Not only if I take myself to this program, I can learn from myself and I can help heal my family, but I can help heal other individuals as well. If we become better as men, we can create stronger families, we can create stronger homes, we can create stronger kids. So that was a turning point in my life. So with that pain that I felt, I knew I could no longer be in Tennessee, and God put in my heart, try to give Texas a shot. So I looked up schools in Dallas, looked up schools in Houston. I took the little government check at the time, and I took a 2-day trip to Houston, drove 14 hours. One of my guys during COVID, the whole city shut down. I get there, I said, oh, this is it. I'm coming here. Applied to the program, Houston Baptist University. I get acceptance to the program. I get on the road, literally $1,200 after I paid everything. I had $75 to my name. But on my way to Houston, my first 3 hours, I was just listening to nothing, and God gave me a vision. I was sitting on the stage, and I was being interviewed. There was a huge crowd. And the lady said to me, Rex, now that you finally made it here, tell us your story. And then the vision went away. So every single time I felt discouraged on this journey, every single time I felt like dropping out of school, every single time I'm looking at these jobs and I'm not getting paid enough, God will remind me of what he showed me. And that was enough for me. And now here I am in this space, turning pain to purpose. And now I work with men and helping them do the same thing that God allowed for me to do in my suffering.
That's beautiful.
Yes, sir. Congratulations.
Pastor, I know you don't have a
Okay.
lot of time and we're
Yeah.
running short, but I do want to have you give one last piece of advice on a different topic,
Mhm.
and then wrap up with anything that you want to leave our audience with.
Got you.
The question is, I want to shift towards marriage. I want to shift towards a man that's trying to deal with his own trauma and whatever is inside of him and be a faithful man, be a good husband, be an honorable father, right? I think all three of us have talked about we've been on this path of being a womanizer, being a manipulator, not being right in the way we were moving with our flesh, right? How do you overcome the lustful side of your flesh in order to be a man that can be a righteous man, a husband, can become one with a woman? How do you do that?
Yeah, I like to say it takes three. It takes three elements. Number one, it takes a desire. Because if you don't have a desire to want to crucify the flesh,
Yeah.
you can't counsel the flesh. You can't advise the flesh. You can't negotiate with the flesh. You can't debate the flesh. The Bible tells us we have to crucify the flesh. That go that death word again. That go that killing again, right? That go that separation part of it, right? Can't nobody do that for you.
Yeah.
Your mom can't do that for you. I can't do that for you. Your wife or your girlfriend can't do that for you. You got to have enough desire in your heart to say enough is enough. 9 times out of 10, you will not get that desire if you don't have a vision, a gift, or a purpose that is bigger than you,
100%.
ahead
That's
of you.
good.
That is the specific thing that gives you the drive or the force or the want to
Yeah.
want to say, man, because of where I'm going and who I'm becoming, if I stay tied in this gonna kill me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now the question is this: Are you willing to kill what's about to kill you?
Yeah.
Right? You got to have a desire to know without a shadow of a doubt that I got to kill what's trying to kill me.
That's good.
After I have the desire, now it's implementation time, right? I got a desire to want to do it. Now I got to put the effort in doing it, right? If I don't have a strategy, if I don't have humility, if I don't have obedience, if I don't have self-control, and if I don't have patience, all working together, then guess what? It don't matter what type of desire I have.
Absolutely.
I don't have a strategy in
Mhm.
order to overcome temptation,
Mhm.
seduction, enticement,
Mhm.
all these type of words.
Yeah.
Right? I got to know without a shadow of a doubt that I desire to do it, and this is the strategy that I'm going to use to do it. May I submit to you, if I cannot find something that is bigger than me, then I will not submit to it.
Absolutely.
If I cannot find something that is bigger than me, I won't humble myself. I will not employ self-control. I will not be obedient if I don't find something that's bigger than me. Not only do God got to be bigger than me, but my desire for a new life got to be bigger than me. My
Absolutely.
desire to be who I am not has to be bigger than who I am. If not, I will not employ the effort.
Yeah.
I will not have the effort of patience, because the truth of the matter is, I'm going to say this. I've been wrestling with this flesh for 3 months. Now I should have been killed it by now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, you don't get the opportunity to put a time limit
I know.
Mhm.
on how long it takes for you to overcome something
Yeah.
or to become someone, right? So I gotta have the desire, I gotta have the effort, and the last thing I got to have is an attitude,
That's good.
Mm.
right? Because if I don't have the attitude of a winner, if I don't have the attitude of a victor, then I'm gonna have an attitude of a victim, or I'm
Absolutely.
gonna have the attitude of a loser.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? And so for me, man, how I developed the attitude to win is I stopped listening to people who haven't won.
Mhm.
I stopped listening to the world of people who man, because the truth of the matter is everybody going left.
Yeah.
And everybody going left, they lose.
Yeah.
Everybody going left always make an excuse why they can't win.
Mhm.
Everybody going left, they with the crowd. And so now I gotta have a type of attitude as a winner. And winning is gonna take me to the road less traveled.
Absolutely.
It's gonna cause me to do stuff and make decisions that everybody else can't make. It's gonna cause me to have an attitude that most losers don't have.
Yeah.
Good.
And the attitude is, I refuse to lose. And the only reason I can have this attitude, keep this attitude, is because on this road that I'm taking, and y'all are not taking this road, that I'm taking this road, I see victory.
Mhm.
If I don't see it, then I can't be it. So this is why the Bible says in Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish.
Absolutely.
When God wants to bring you out,
Mhm.
he brings you out head first.
Hmm.
He brings you out not just with your mind, but he bring you out with your eyes physically and your eyes spiritually. Because if you can't see it, you can't be it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if I want to kill the lust of the flesh, if I want to kill the pride of life, if I want to kill the lust of the eyes, I gotta have desire, I gotta have effort, and I gotta have attitude. Right? If I don't have all three of them, then I'm already putting myself in a position to just talk like everybody else,
Mhm.
but not literally have the fruit to pull the trigger and be somebody different.
Good.
That's powerful,
It's
Pastor.
absolutely
Yeah.
powerful.
Man, let the people know where they can find you, man. We are honored.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all for having me. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook at Pastor James TFCC and YouTube. Everywhere. All social media platforms at Pastor James TFCC. And so therefore, I'm pretty sure it's on the screen on the bottom.
Mhm.
You can see it right now. And so therefore you can follow me anywhere there. If you're in the city of Houston, I get the opportunity to pastor Transforming Faith Christian Center, 12401 South Post Oak Road, Houston, Texas. And the reason why I know for a fact this can be done is because I wrote a book entitled The Secret of the Soul Tie, what the enemy does not want you to know about unhealthy and ungodly soul ties. And so it's a whole conversation. I don't want to get started in that. But the reason why most men and most people don't think that they can live a really fulfilled, productive, and healthy life with their spouse is simply because, just being honest with you, they are in a relationship with someone, or they're in a marriage with their wife physically, but they're also in another relationship with somebody else mentally on the inside. And so you got to fight what you're seeing internally. And because if you see it every day internally, then what you see and what you start thinking about, you're going to start feeling it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So thoughts produce habits.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Thoughts produce feelings. You got me? And then when you start having feelings and you start getting convictions by the feeling, then you're going to mess around and make a decision.
Yeah.
And when you make a decision, then you're going to pull the action.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? And when you create the action, then you do it enough, you'll create a habit. Now, after you create the habit, then it's going to be a character trait. You got me? But everything started from you saw something and a thought happened.
Yeah.
You got me?
Yeah.
And you meditated on the thought long enough, and the thought, when you believe the thought, then the thought became a feeling.
Yeah.
You got me? You don't get a feeling until you believe something.
That's good.
So inside of the soul, there is a secret to uncovering and destroying ungodly soul ties and unhealthy soul ties. And the truth of the matter is, once you get rid of an ungodly soul tie, now you got to create a godly soul tie in your mind in order to win. But it can be done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Believe.
Thank you for that, Rex. Let them know where they can find you.
It's
Let's
your
do it
boy,
quick.
Rex Howard Jr., relationship and sex therapist. You can find me on Instagram @_I am Rex Howard Jr. And if you're a man looking for a space for accountability, motivation, spiritual growth, emotional intelligence, you can find that in my bio. It's called the Morning Mastery Meetup. We meet every single morning from 6:55 to 7:55 a.m. Monday through Friday. We never miss a day. We're on month 14. Brothers are growing, brothers are learning, brothers are developing, brothers are becoming more on a day-to-day basis. If that's something that you're looking for the next 3 weeks, we're open. We're only accepting 10 more guys. So if you are seeing this, now is your time.
Now is the time. All right, guys, y'all know where to find me. Miles the Millennial. That's Miles with a Y. If you know you need this type of empowerment, you need this type of wisdom, you need this type of spirit to come into your organization, your group, your school, to speak to your students or to your staff so that they can change their mind in order to change their life. And you can produce valuable outcomes that reach your organization's goals, I want you to go to milesthemillennial.com, fill out a free booking form for us to sit down and get on the same page on how we can change the minds and lives of the people that you serve. We thank y'all so much for your time, and we will catch you next week. Peace.